Hi, my loves. How are we doing? All right. This is going to be kind of a general read, but this reading's going to be more about for the collective who practice what I call the craft, witchcraft. I'm actually going to use this beautiful deck. It's called the Solitary Witch Oracle deck. I'm just going to use this for this reading, like it's called this, if you guys are interested. Such a beautiful deck. Like the artwork on there, it's fantastic, and it's got, the pentagram right there. It's really pretty. But anyways, I'm really talking to a collective. I feel like you are transitioning out of being a beginner witch or a baby witch is kind of what I'm getting right there, okay? And I feel like when it comes to your practice on whatever it is that you're trying to focus on, it's very stagnant. Maybe I feel like I'm really talking to a collective, maybe in a funny way, you're starting to give up on the craft. You feel like your spells or, your rituals or your practice is just not working. You're not getting results. You're not getting a lot of feedback on certain things, okay? And it's going to be very general because I could be talking to somebody that could branch out and practice on a lot of different things. You could be doing candle work, tarot readings, water magic, whatever the case is, but there is something about when it comes to your work, you feel very stuck, as that certain case. Now, as somebody who's been practicing the craft for years, I know what it's like to be a beginner witch or a baby witch in a funny way, because it's so funny because let's be real, as a witch, I don't care what you do, as far as your craft or your practice, 85% of your practice is going to be research. You're going to be reading. You're going to be constantly learning things. Even after you get out of the beginning stages, you are constantly going to be evolving. So it's kind of like, don't forget that. There's not one book out there when it comes to craft. There's several out there as far as where to go. That is my best advice to anybody, because I constantly get asked, well, how do I start? Read. Pick up a book and start reading. But there is something, you're coming out of it, and you're kind of like, okay, what now? Where do I go? Where am I supposed to go? So let me see what is going on. And per usual, guys, if this doesn't apply to you, sit right with you. You don't want to hear what I have to say. That is completely okay. I will be back some other time. So I got the number 36, the witch's house. 1 second. My timer stopped at 222. So sign, it says wishing, dreaming, longing for a place to be completely of your own self. Here's the thing. You want to, I'm a person that kind of believes that, spells always work. The only reason it doesn't work is because there may be a little bit of blockages, or you didn't amplify that spell enough, or whatever the case is, okay? You need to find your own home. You see how this girl right here, she's coming out of the woods and she sees that home from a distance and she's about to charge right towards it. She's clearly been in the, in the woods or in the forest, going through this journey. It's time to find your callings, time to find your home. I see this a lot when it comes to beginner witches, even myself included. We all get wrapped up in this a little too much, where we kind of follow everybody else's path. So for example, if you've really been, gaining a lot of knowledge when it comes to your craft, like here on this app, maybe for example, your witch talk feed is full of practitioners who practice baneful work. Maybe baneful work is not your calling. Maybe it's glamour. Maybe it's protection. There is something about you need to find your own roots. You need to find, that is truly how magic works. It's not like, well, everybody else is doing it. Everybody's lighting up the red candle. Everybody's doing this. So that means I got to focus on that. No, that is not your calling. The reason that, that spell or your practice, again, just doesn't work, it's because you're not being your authentic self. Because let's be real. Think about it when you're in your own home, you're in a home environment. You're your most authentic self, right? In your own house, whether it's around your partner or your family, your kids. When you're, out and about at a job or going to Walmart or whatever the case is, you're kind of, more conformed, you're more suppressed, you're kind of in your cool, because you don't want to say or do something ridiculous out in public. Same thing. You're not, when you do that spell, you need to be more authentic, feel like it's your home, your safe space. You're kind of, I feel, again, it's more awkward when you do it. Of course, it's not going to work. It's like, how do you expect that spell or that ritual to blossom out if you're awkwardly doing it? You're not putting what I call more oomph into your magic a little bit. And that's okay. And that's where it takes time. Let's be real. When you practice the craft, you're going to be dabbling into everything to see where your, heart kind of draws more, towards. Let me see where else it's going for. Or for example, like this, maybe everybody on your feed does tarot reads. Maybe you don't, you're not tarot doing tarot is maybe not your thing, and that is completely okay. And then I got number 3, the Belaine Lover in reverse. On this one, it kind of talks about, in this case, sometimes literal love, but it's kind of about, like, what does it say right here? A need to rekindle your own physical sensuality and to bring pleasure and self-nurture back in your life, guilt around uncommitted relationships. And that's kind of where I feel like that is the bottom line I'm feeling out of this collective, is like the reason you feel stagnant is maybe because there is guilt surrounding you. And it's more of maybe you're kind of beating yourself up. Why do I not feel as motivated? Why am I not practicing more? Why am I not researching more? Why? Because this is kind of a reading to tell you, like, whatever it is you're trying to fixate on so deeply on, whether, again, it's baneful work, tarot readings, it's not for you. You need to go find that kind of magic that really does work for you, and that will take time. There is something about, like, in a lot of ways, it's all about, these two cards together. Yeah, literally self-initiation right here. It's kind of in a funny way, your guides are telling you it's not going to be spoon-fed to you. I think you're doing where am I supposed to go? That's where research comes in. Research. I'm trying to say that 10 times really fast, okay? And that's where I'm saying, like, the craft, it takes time. You're going to spend a lifetime learning from things that you're like, crap, I do that all the time. Crap, how come I never figured that out years ago, or I never thought of that? You're constantly going to be evolving. So it's kind of like, always remember that research is always going to be a thing for you. Do not follow a certain path because everybody else is doing it. And again, there is a reason you don't feel, literally, this is about feeling guilty of not being committed towards something. Okay, like, I feel bad. I have no structure. I have no self-initiation right there. That's where I'm saying a lot of you, I'm kind of hearing, go find, your ancestral roots. For some of you. And then I got the number 1, wishes in reverse. That's exactly what that kind of confirms everything that what I'm saying right there. Transcendent amidst the everyday. That's my learning right there. That's where I'm saying you feel like, nothing's working. Literally, your wishes are not being come true because, again, you don't have your own roots, your own passion when it comes towards that. Like I said, maybe everybody on your page is doing baneful work. Maybe it's solitary work. Maybe it's glamour magic. Maybe you're meant to be a witch, whatever the case is. Like, and that will, now it's time. I think that's what you're really looking for in your spiritual path, is a label in a funny way for yourself. What is something I'm going to thrive in the most? And you will find it. Okay, and then the sweet Ostara harvest, the number 15. Ain't this something? Reconnecting to vitality, feeling invigorated and inspired, ready for action, love, creativity, laughter, and joy, a desire to move and dance with the rhythms of the earth and her creatures, caring for young ones, caring for your own inner child, bright, sparkling, warm energy, high engagement. That now this is very, that is going to be your outcome once you find your personal path. For a lot of you, this could be very, if you're, choosing like deity work, I'm hearing you're very eclectic, which means you dabble into a lot of different pantheons. I'm hearing start dabbling into that. Let me actually do one more. This is really pretty energy. A gentle path of inspiration, number 35. Look at that. That's what I'm saying. This is meant to inspire you. There's nothing wrong with, you're not magical. You're not a lousy witch. You're not a witch. It's just you need to find your own personal calling. That's what it's all about. Don't go towards for example, candle magic, because everybody's doing it. Don't go towards tarot readings because everybody on my page is doing it. Maybe, and when beautiful part about magic and witchcraft is some are more powerful than others. It doesn't make you less than that. It's just, again, I think the reason is your spells are being blocked off. It's because you're not putting much passion toward. Why? Because that's not where you're supposed to be, and that's okay. When you find your calling, oh my gosh, because look at her sipping tea and reading books and just being all cozy. And that's how it should be for you. It should be a fun and enjoyable experience, not because, well, everybody's doing it. No, and you will find it. find your calling and you already know where you're supposed to go.